I wanted to ask about the president's reaction to the legal developments yesterday and with the initial plea deal for his son appearing to fall apart.
So look, I'm really not going to say anything more than what I shared yesterday. This is a personal matter for Hunter Biden. This is, a personal issue. And as you know, this has been done in an independent way by the Department of Justice. It has been led by a Trump-appointed prosecutor, and I'm just not going to comment beyond what I said yesterday. And of course, and we have said this multiple times, the President and the First Lady, they love their son, and they support him as he is working to rebuild his life. I'm just not going to say anything beyond that.
To follow up on Hunter, is the President concerned that his son's legal challenges will continue to take attention away from the White House now that this plea deal has fallen apart?
I'm just not going to speak to the politics of this. I'm not going to speak to characterize any of this for the President. What I can say is that, and I've said this before, this is a personal matter. This is Hunter Biden, as you know, is a private citizen, and this was done in an independent way. This investigation is being led by a Trump-appointed prosecutor. And so the Department of Justice is independent. We give them the space to be independent, and we respect the rule of law. I'm just not going to get into details of characterizing.
Has he spoken to Hunter?
I'm just not going to speak to any private conversation that the President has with his family.
Hey, Greg. The tax matter that had Hunter Biden in court in Wilmington yesterday, it had criminal information saying that he hadn't paid 1.2 to about 1.5 million in taxes owed. So my question is, number one, I know the President doesn't talk to him, you say, about his business, but was he aware at the time that he wasn't filing his returns in a timely fashion? And also, did he ever advise him to pay? Because Hunter testified in court that 1 year he was sober when he didn't file. So did they ever discuss the tax situation?
I'm not going to get into the specific of the case.
Does he think it might
I've answered this question over and over again. Nothing has changed from the statement that I made yesterday. Nothing's going to change from the few times that I've gotten this question in the briefing room. We're not going to comment on this. This is an independent investigation that is being led by a Trump-appointed prosecutor, that is being led by clearly the Department of Justice, right? The prosecutors I just mentioned, and we're just not going to comment on this.
You mentioned DOJ. Does he have any concerns that the deal prosecutors put together fell apart and couldn't make it by a judge?
We're not going to comment on specifics of the case.
Can you state categorically that the administration has neither sought nor received favorable treatment from the DOJ for any investigation into the President, members of the administration, his family, or former President Donald Trump?
Absolutely not. The Department of Justice is independent. The President respects the rule of law. He has been saying that since he was before President, and that will remain the case.
And then finally, just as far as the questions about the President's health, I think that would be all cleared up if, once again, if we could just ask him to step out of that door into this room for 45 minutes. And so I ask you again to pass that along to him, to ask him to come out and see us.
I appreciate the request. Thank you for the request. The President, as you know, again, I appreciate the question, and I get it, and the President understands. You guys want to ask him questions and have the opportunity for him to answer your questions. I do want to say, this is a President that has done more in the first 2.5 years, when it comes to the economy, when it comes to really giving the American people a little bit of breathing room than any other president. All you got to do is look at the data. All you got to do is look at where we are in this country. There was a conversation for almost 2 years about a recession, and now you have economists saying that because of the work that this president has done these past 2 years, we're not headed in that way. And so, this is a president that wakes up every morning thinking about the American people and doing that job and doing the work, and you see that. You see that, again, in historic pieces of legislation, whether it's the bipartisan infrastructure legislation. That was a joke. Infrastructure Week was a joke. And now we're talking about infrastructure decade. CHIPS and Science Act, we're able to do that in a bipartisan way. You're going to see the president in Maine tomorrow talking about how to bring jobs back to this country, how to bring manufacturing back to this country. Things that the last administration was trying to do, and it was a joke. And this president is actually making it happen. So I'm going to just keep talking about that, keep laying that out.
I'd like to
But
see him talk about
I
it.
get
That's
that,
what I'm
but
saying.
you'll hear him talk about that tomorrow. You will. Okay.